Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am glad that you're able to be here with me today. Welcome. This is a short video about how to create a life skills learning table. The presenter is myself, Tamla Terry, and today's date is November 17th, 2014. This short video will introduce you to life skills while you are living on a college campus and how to adjust to living on your own and transitioning into a real world, real life situation. Now, the system that you will use to help you with this transition, these lessons will be housed in a learning management system or reusable learning object. And the name of this system is OGLO, and it stands for ongoing learning object. And that's pretty much the system you'll use to complete these lessons. These lessons will count as 40% of your grade, and I'm glad to be here to explain to you and help you create this learning table so that you'll have quick access to the lessons that will be required in the assignments that are due on particular days. And again, I thank you for being here for this video presentation. Here is our objective. By the end of this learning session, you will be able to create a life skills learning table using Microsoft Word. The purpose of creating this table is to pretty much assist you during the first months of your college career. So you'll have actually a guide or hard copy of a quick little review sheet listing your first 3 lessons that are due within 6 weeks after starting your college career. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at how we will create this table for you during your transition. You'll need all of the tools and resources available at your disposal so that you are able to transition into this new way of living on your own on the college campus. So let's get started. First, we'll take a look at the data that will be entered into your learning table. We'll list the modules, if modules are applicable. We'll list the categories in our learning table, the lessons that you will be scheduled to complete, the description of those lessons, and then you'll also have a due date. And again, this is just a quick reference guide, something you can refer to when you are taking these lessons. I do also want to point out that these lessons will count as 40% of your overall grade, which means it's very important that you complete these lessons. So let's look at step 1. We first want to launch the program, and you'll notice here from your desktop there is an actual icon, the Microsoft Word icon. You'll click on that to launch Microsoft Word. After launching your program, which is Microsoft Word, you'll notice it will present or display this blank document. And on this document, here's where you will begin listing the title of your learning table. Step 3 of this process is typing the name of your table. You'll notice here in this example is OGLO Module 1, Freshman Life Skills Learning Table. This is the table that you will use to notate or document the lessons that will be assigned to you within the first 6 weeks of your college career. Step 4 of this process will be choosing the table option from your Word document at the top. On the toolbar here, you'll notice there is a red arrow pointing to table. That is the option you will select to get started with creating your learning table. That you'll need for your table, you'll notice here that it defaults to 5 columns and 2 rows, but you are able to make a change depending on the content that you'll need, how many columns you'll need, how many rows you'll need. So you'll make the necessary adjustments here in these drop-down menus that says columns and rows. So here you'll modify those columns and rows based on the content that you'll need for your table. And again, you'll use these drop-down menus. You'll notice, take a look at this little arrow, this red arrow to the far right of your screen, where you'll select either up or down to select the number of rows as well as the number of columns you'll need for your table. Step 7 of the process is creating that table, and then you'll notice after selecting the corresponding number of rows and columns that you'll need for your table, it will then appear here under your title that we created in step 3 of this process, and you'll have a blank table. So this is what we're looking for. This is this table, this blank table with the number of rows and columns. Step 8 of the process will be entering the data that we discussed earlier in our presentation or in our video, which includes the module, the category, the title, description, the lesson number, and the due dates. And so this is our table. This is the content that will be entered into our table. You'll notice the categories. We have study habits, motivations, and diversity. And the title of those lessons, the first one is learning effective study habits. The second one for motivation is developing and maintaining motivation in college. And then the last category is diversity, and the title of that lesson is embracing diversity on the college campus as well as society. It has a description of each lesson. The lesson number is the 5th column, and then you'll notice that the due dates are in the very last column to the far right, and the due dates are January 20th, 2015, February 4th, 2015, and February 25th, 2015. So this is the table that the overall table that you'll need, and that's what our goal is, to create this table here. So let's take a look at it. Let's stop and do a checkpoint or a review of what we've discussed so far in our video. The first check is we've reviewed the data. So we've got familiarized ourselves with the data that will be entered into our life skills learning table. So we know the categories, the due date, the lessons, the lesson number, the module. So we're familiar with that. We've used that information, and now we created the actual table, entering that information or that content into our table. We've modified the number of tables or the number of rows and columns that are needed for our table and the content that will be entered. And here at the very bottom is just a very important reminder that these lessons are imperative. You have to complete these lessons because they count as 40% of your grade. So this is just a quick checkpoint of what we've covered so far. Here are some post questions, just some things to think about. What will you use your learning table for? We talked about using it as a quick reference guide or a quick resource that you can refer to, just reminding you of the 3 lessons that are due within the first 6 weeks of your college career. What is the default settings for a Microsoft Word table? Columns and rows, I believe it's 3 and 2. We want to name one category mentioned on the completed learning table. Study habits was one of the categories that we listed. And what does OGLU stand for? And we talked about that earlier, and it stands for Ongoing Learning Object. So those are just some things to think about. Here are some contact information that you may possibly need if you need further clarity or clarification on what is expected of you with creating this table and completing the lessons that will be assigned to you within the first 6 weeks. If you need assistance, my email address is tamlaterry@yahoo.com. You can also reach me at 706-877-6178. That is my cell number. And please contact me with no later than 9 p.m. Thank you for participating. Again, good luck in your college career. I am available if you need assistance. You do have my contact information, and good luck with everything and all of your endeavors in the future.